Welcome to another video. I am recording this in advance on a Tuesday on 20 to 1. You'll be seeing this on a Tuesday night. Now, what I thought it would be good to do is do the West Ham player ratings. We've had a shit season. We've had a really shit season. And you almost become numb to it when you're used to seeing your team lose. And I'll tell you a little story. Well, it's not really a story, but it's just a fact. When we lost to Oxford United under Pellegrini, went on that run, I was just numb to it. I was just numb. I fell out of love with football. Like I wasn't even going to games at this point, and I just wanted the guy sacked. I was like, I've never been more disappointed than winning against Chelsea. I didn't know about illegal streams at this time. I was just checking the scores. And we won, and I was like, my Chelsea friend texted me. He was like, "Congratulations on the win." I was like, "I want this guy sacked. I don't care about the win." So that's what I kind of feel like right now. But apart from the sacking bit, I don't believe Moyes should be sacked because I don't think we can attract anyone out of their original clubs. I know Villa did it with Emery, but they offer a heap load of money, and Rob Newman and Mark Noble are in charge of footballing decisions at the club. So that's not going to happen anytime soon. Today we're going to be doing player ratings out of 10. But what we're going to do is we're not going to include the new signings. Some of you might be like, why are you not including the new signings? I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair to judge any of these new signings in November. And that's me being completely honest. It's fair for me to judge the original players here that have been here for a long time, that we know what to expect from them. So, 3 goalkeepers, two goalkeepers. We won't break Darren Randolph. Darren Randolph hasn't played. And I know Alfonso Riol is a new signing, but he was here last season. Lucas Fabianski and Alfonso Riol, I'm going to give both of them a 7 out of 10. They haven't done much wrong. I think Ariolo could have done better in the penalty shootout and conceded Haaland's. I think he was the one who conceded the penalty against Erling Haaland. So those are only thoughts for Ariolo. Fabianski against Chelsea away, and lack of distribution were the only things I'll say. But other than that, I won't put the season on them too. That's why they get a 7 out of 10. Spoiler alert, nobody's getting higher than a 7. Ben Johnson, if we go to the defenders now. Ben Johnson, I am giving going to give a 5 out of 10. I think he's been painfully average. I know my hair is mad, but I couldn't hear myself with my hood on, so that's why I took my hood off. With Ben Johnson, 5 out of 10. Painfully average. Some good performances in Conference League, but ever since the injuries, looked really uncomfortable. I think this break will benefit someone like him the most, especially like performances against Bournemouth and Liverpool especially. Didn't perform well at all. Aaron Cresswell, I'm going to give a 4. I've been very critical of Aaron Cresswell this season. I don't think he should be starting, but I don't think he's been as shit as other players in the squad, although I do think he's still been shit. Doesn't run forward enough. Not going to blame that much because he's 33, didn't really deserve the new contract. It's nothing to do with the Frankfurt thing. People that criticise Cresswell have agendas because of the Frankfurt thing. I've always said about Cresswell, good player, good deliveries, nice guy in real life. But he's only had 3 to 4 good seasons at the club. And I've said this before. I said this in a previous video. I said this, I think, in the Crystal Palace match reaction. Kurt Zouma had a horror first 3 games, but has been, for me, good ever since then. I think people are overly critical of him against Palace. And he's done well to move on from his situation with the cap. It's nearly been a year since that happened, like a couple months to a year. I will give him a 7. People probably think that's too high, but I actually don't think he's been bad. Vladimir Seifel, I'm gonna give a 4. It's a similar problem with Aaron Cresswell. He's been shit, but he's not been as shit as other players. I don't think he deserves a new deal as well. He needs to leave in the summer. Thank you for everything you've done. We need to leave. And the guy just passes backwards all the time for a right back. Doesn't always cuts in and uses a weaker foot. Doesn't put enough crosses in. Hasn't been the same since that groin injury. I think it was against Man United in the cup. He did deserve the abuse against Southampton, but he didn't perform well against Southampton. People say he hasn't done anything wrong. It's because he doesn't make errors. He's just painfully average now. Craig Dawson, I will give a 7 out of 10 as well. I'm not the biggest fan of Craig Dawson, but he's been good this calendar year. But my thing is, he's still prone to an error. And I'm being very nice when I say 7. I'm a big critic of Craig Dawson, but the amount of times Fabianski has saved this guy in terms of giving away penalties against Leicester, he did it. And last season against Chelsea away and Man City at home, Fabianski saved him 3 times for penalties. So I don't think he's as good as people say. He's prone to an error, prone to lack of concentration and bad footballing ability in terms of actually playing the ball on the floor. Although he bragged about it on the club website. So I'll give him a 7, but that could be a 6. Angelo Ogbonna, I will give a 6. Obviously, he doesn't look like the same Angelo Ogbonna, but it'll be very harsh for me to rate him because of him coming back from an injury. He's done well to come back from the injury. He's had some good games, but games like, for example, he came in against Tottenham, and as soon as he came in against Tottenham, he got spun against Richarlison. I don't think it helped him coming on as a sub against Chelsea either. He's not been the same, but I don't think him playing wide of a back 3 helps either. He's never been that good when he does that. He's very good in the middle of a back 3, intelligent enough for good ball recovery and reading the game well. The last 3 are new signings: Aged, Cresswell, and Emerson. Aged, Carrere, and Emerson. I know how to say his name now. It's Carrere. I heard a Liga commentator said it, so I'm going to call him Carrere now. I keep calling him Kera. New signings. I don't think either of them have been that bad. I think Carrere gets a bit of bad press, but I'm not going to rate them because they are new signings. We have a lot of new signings in the midfield section. For example, Paqueta, Downs, and Cornet's been listed as a midfielder. And Conor Coventry's just coming to the side. Not a new signing. I will be rating him, but take it with a pinch of salt. Pablo Fornals. If you know the shadow, you know what I think of Fornals by now. I'm giving him a 3. A 3 out of 10. Goals against FCSB and Blackburn play a part in terms of you doing well, and that's what's saving you from a 3 instead of a 2 or 1. Game against Leicester sums the fan base up in terms of the defence of this guy, demanding him to play. You criticise Paqueta for making errors, but not Pablo Fornals, who literally gave away the ball for the goal. And that doesn't make any sense to me. Just assumes your agendas. People like him off the pitch because because of his kid, and because of the fact that he chanted West Ham are massive everywhere we go after the Seville game. He's had some great games for the club, but he's heavily overrated in terms of his ability on the ball, and people overanalyze his actual performances at the club, and because of one back heel at FCSB at home, people like to call him the connector between the midfield and the attack. He is the golden boy. That's why I put golden boy Fornals in my last video, my last match reaction, and heavily overrated for a midfielder that comes from Spain. He cannot pass a ball, and that's why he's not in the Spain squad. Although he was in the provisional, in the backups in the Euros. He was never going to make the Spain squad regardless because he's not good enough. Manuel Lanzini, I am giving a 4. As much as I like Lanzini in possession, I don't think he's been good enough. When he's played, I don't actually think he was that bad at when he came on against Crystal Palace because it made us better in possession. But he was playing off the left, and that's not his best position. He's playing. I think he can play a lot deeper in European games, but he still gives away the ball too much as well. And I'm a big fan of Lanzini. As much as I actually thought at a point he was finished when we had that big season in COVID. But when he played a lot deeper against that Burnley game where Rice got injured and Noble got injured, played really well, and that's been his position ever since. And is what it is. He will be going at the end of the season. I've got nothing. I've got no bad things to say about Manuel Lanzini. If I'm honest, he wasn't a problem at the club when we were so shit. He was never a mercenary. Never complained. So I will thank him for that. Obviously, Paqueta, Downs, and Cornet. I can't really rate Cornet. You got robbed at Chelsea. Flynn Downs has only just come into the first team and deserves a start. And I think Paqueta is the only one that creates in our team and gets a lot of bad press. Again, I think he's I think a bit like Correa, he's a big scapegoat. I actually looked up Lyon versus PSG. I wanted to see if they actually played against each other. They both scored against each other in the Lyon PSG game where it was 1-1. That's a fun fact. I think it was the start of this calendar year or last calendar year or whatever. All right, we're gonna leave a certain midfielder till last because we've got a lot to say about him. Connor Coventry, I'm gonna give a 5 because I can't really rate enough. I don't think he's played enough for me to really rate him, so I'm gonna give him an average 5. I don't think he's been bad. I don't think he started well against Blackburn and dipped off. I'm a fan of Coventry. I had a feeling he was going to get put in the squad. I know he needed a lot of convincing to get into Moyes' plans. The report by West Ham employee at the time was the coaching staff like him, but Moyes needs some convincing on him, and that was at pre-season. He did do well in pre-season. He's had some appearances in the Conference League to see the games out, and I don't think he's played bad. I don't know whether he will stay. I know they can trigger the extension on his contract, so I'm sure they'll just do that instead of signing a long-term contract at the club if Moyes stays, which I think he will. A man who is one of our better players, obviously been a good player for a long time now, Declan Rice. I don't think he's been that good this season. I'm going to give him a 6. And it's below his level. I expect better from Declan Rice. I don't think he's down his performances because of the World Cup. I think it's due to fixture congestion. But he's given the ball away again. Just a bit of a theme, isn't it? Giving the ball away too much. He was a problem for the Tottenham goal. And I think the Fulham one as well, where they countered. We've actually conceded so many goals on transition because of us giving the ball away. And I think teams have started to clock that. And even in the game where he scored against Southampton, he wasn't great. A great goal, but he wasn't great that game. I don't think it was his best game. And in the Liverpool game, he got man of the match by Ali McCoist. I think he was sensational in the second half, but I don't think he was that good in the first half. But fair play to him. His first World Cup. It's good to see a West Ham player at the World Cup, and good luck to him. But I don't think he's been at his best this season, and that's just me being completely honest. And how could I forget Mr. Thomas Souček? I don't think it was his worst game on Saturday, but that doesn't mean he had a good game. I think Moyes, what we see the pattern with what Moyes does, is that he did it with Fornals at the start of the season. He loves Fornals. He loved Fornals, but he took him off instead of taking off Benrahma. And then shifted him out of the squad when he got his players. And we only saw that after the Fulham game. And Benrahma was playing well when he came on, and I think Benrahma has earned his place over Fornals. And I think you've seen that with Souček in terms of he got taken off against Palace. And the whole crowd fucking cheered, and that's how shit he was. Again, another player who's given away the ball so many times against Bournemouth, Liverpool. Gave away the ball about three. Him and Fornals gave away the ball about 3 times each against Liverpool. He's given away against Palace, Leicester, Fulham, Wolves. All games he's played in. I know Wolves was his best game, but he still wasn't that good. And we all remember that pass at Goodison Park where he literally passes it nearly off the pitch when we lost 1-0. I think people like to forget that. So my rating is a 0. Souček gets a 0 out of 10. He's been awful. Can still make good tackles, but that's it. I thought someone was coming into my house. And we're going to end on the attackers. I think people are being harsh on Skamaka, by the way. I think people saying he needs to do more for his quality movement off the ball and all that. He benefits more when the ball is to him and when players are close to him, which is the only similarity I have with him and Sebastian Haller, which is a lazy comparison that people like to use. And we've all seen his quality against Wolves and Fulham and Anderlecht, where he can score great goals, and Silkeborg, but the ball doesn't come to him enough. Mikel Antonio, probably my favourite West Ham player that I've seen, but he's not been good enough this season, and probably hasn't been good enough this calendar year, if I'm being completely honest. Gets scapegoated a bit too much from our fans, but I just don't think he's been good enough. He hasn't been the bully that like bullying defenders as we expect him to, but I don't. Again, a bit like Cresswell and Soufal, I don't think as much as he's been shit, he hasn't been as shit as others. I think it's fair to give him the same rating as Johnson. I expect better from Antonio. I'll give him a 5. I have higher standards for Antonio. Maybe 5 is probably a bit generous. Let me know if you think lower, but I think he does. As much as he does get scapegoated, he hasn't been good enough. I thought he was going to get Chelsea and Tottenham, but this guy's always good at London derbies. I expect that from him. And he's been ill twice, I think, this year as well. So he's got a bit unlucky as well. A man who I'm really disappointed in, a man who I'm a fan of, but has really pissed me off this season is Jared Bowen. Another man who I think it's due to fixture congestion because of his performances, but I also think a lack of spontaneity. What's it? Lack of being spontaneous. I was about to say spontaneity. I don't know what it is. I don't know what that word is, but I don't know if there's another word for that. A lack of being spontaneous, a lack of being unpredictable. I think he's very predictable, and I think people are figuring him out. I think that's why I never really compared him with Bukayo Saka. When Arsenal fans and West Ham fans love to compare them, as a bit of another lazy comparison, just because they're both left-footed English players that play on the right-hand side for London clubs. And Jared Bowen, I will give I'm going to say 2. I'm going to say 2 out of 10. Even in my head, I think that's generous. I'll change that to a 1. A 1 out of 10. I think it's been that bad. Can't name a good game. Can't name a good game from him. Then that 1 is probably holding up because of the Wolves goal. It was awful against Everton, awful against Bournemouth, awful against Liverpool. Actually, no, not Liverpool. Liverpool, he was okay. Awful in the first 3 games, a bit like all of the players. Awful against Leicester, awful against Palace. I reckon after Souček has been phased out of the team, I reckon he'll be next when Maxwell Cornet picks up a bit of fitness, who I hope can come into the team as soon as possible. And we end on a positive note, a man who's been listed as a forward as well, Said Benrahma. Said Benrahma is someone who I'm a fan of, but I have criticised as well. I think sometimes the ball doesn't go with his feet, to put it bluntly. I think sometimes he can be a bit predictable and get found out. But this season, as much as he's done a bit of that, he's been mainly class when he's come on the pitch, and I would say uh, apart from Anderlecht away, where I don't think he had a good performance like Mikel Antonio. They were both horrible that game. They both got taken off when we scored. Apart from that, I think he's been brilliant in terms of one of our better players this season. I will say he's our best player now that I think about it this season. He's probably been a lot of people have said that he's been our best player this season. I don't think he's had as many horrible games as the other people that have rated as high as him. So I will say an 8 out of 10 for Saeed Benrahma. And yeah, that is all the player ratings. Let me know if you agree. Give me your player ratings. Go on the West Ham website. Go on the squad, men's first team, and give me your list of player ratings in the comments below. We've got Arsenal on Boxing Day, and there'll be more videos to come in the World Cup that are West Ham related and Premier League related to see if I can get any videos out for you guys. And I was going to do a season review. Instead, I thought I'd do player ratings. If you guys did like the video, leave a like on the video and subscribe if you're new. I'm recording this at 1 a.m, which is why I'm speaking quietly. Social media is in the description. You want to follow me on the email for the inquiries, and that was the player ratings. I'll see you guys later.